Hello everyone, my name is Zerul. I'll be your conductor for today's train wreck of an episode. Today we're going to go ahead and take a brief look and introduction to Hex Shards of Fate. It is going to be a digital MMOTCG put out by Cryptozoic, until at least fairly recently, the people that have brought us the WoW trading card game. This is an all-digital trading card game with MMO elements once they get into final production. Right now we're currently in the alpha stage, and as one of the backers to the project, I get to show you this off sooner than some other people may. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and give you all a brief overview of the client, show you a few different things, and then we'll play a quick game versus the AI to show you the different concepts on how Hex is played, and we'll go from there. So once you log in, this is the general screen here. I'm currently running the game at 1080p, so the sizes of the files are not the biggest. I'm certain we'll probably get some differences in more UI quality and scaling and stuff later on the road. To stress this game is in alpha. So we're expecting the beta to be sometime out in the next few months, and then after it's in beta for a little while, it'll go into full production. But this is now an alpha. A lot of the features have not yet been implemented, and as a result of that, you won't see everything that's possible to be done there. There is a lot of bugs going on at the moment, but this is an alpha product, so that is to be expected right at the moment. Even so, the fact that they've gotten this so far along in such a time frame is actually very impressive. For being an alpha product, it is very, very polished, and every day they're working on getting the bugs knocked out and so forth. So we have the general screen here. Down here we have three buttons. We have the Play AI, which takes you to a screen where you can challenge the computer. We have the general play button, and we have the build deck. Play brings you to this screen, play now. Build deck brings you into the card manager. Down here's a little chat window, which I haven't really made too much use of myself yet. On the upper left here we have home, play now, card manager, not implemented. Social, this is where you can get your friends' requests and that kind of thing, and a few more things not implemented there. Over here we have the chat bubble. You can turn it on and off, or at least make relevant or forward and bring it not. In the options window, where you can do things like, well, at the moment, change your display and change your video. That's pretty much it. I'm running right now with no built-in sound music. This music sometimes will cut out while you're playing video the games at the moment, so I'm just running with straight this here. We'll go to the Play AI here in a little bit here. The Play Now section brings you to the general proving ground screen here, where you will see different people that you can play against. Here's a Games in Progress section at the moment, which as for the time being, it looks you can't really see anything. But if you want to play someone, you just go over here, you click on Challenge, or you wait for someone to challenge you. Here is the card manager. Now, the card manager is a listing of all of the different cards that are available to build decks with. You can actually build decks with cards you don't own. You can't play with them until the cards are in your possession. This is a CCG, TCG in all aspects. You all with the whole opening of boosters and so forth for the PvP side. There's going to be a PvE side, which will be completely free to play, where you'll challenge the computer either solo or in raid groups to beat down various dungeons there with their specialty themed decks. It's going to be really, really incredible for what I've seen so far. Cryptozoic is the people that, or at least some of the people at Cryptozoic are the people that created the raid decks for the WoW CCG, so they have a good understanding of what would make a good deck, a good concept for people to play against in like a raid format. So this is, like I said, this is your card manager, your deck builder. You have two views. You have the picture view here, which shows you all the cards. For the alpha, they've given everyone access to a full set of all the cards that are currently available, which isn't everything. There's still a number of cards here that that they have not implemented yet there because they're still working bugs out and things like that. Down here is the deck that you are currently working on, and if you click on this section here, you can break it down to a text version of what you're doing. Down here, I'm kind of working on coming up with something. I'm going to be starting a series called Deck of the Week, where I'm going to create a deck and then run it through playing various games for a week to improve the deck. Maybe get help from people in the comments thread on suggestions on what we can do. I'm not the best deck builder at the moment. I consider myself a fairly decent player of CCGs and such. If I had the time to drop into it, it was always in years past hard to get time to do this kind of thing because you usually had to be at a store for this kind of stuff, local game shop. Now you don't necessarily have to, although it sounds like they have some ideas to get local game stores involved with Hex as well, which should be really awesome. So to create a deck, you click on New Deck, and then we'll call this deck Deck of the Week 1. Sure. So basically, when you're building a deck, let's go and change it back to this format here. Get a little bit of lag. You can select it from the picture version, which I don't know why, but the picture version doesn't always load. Again, I'm guessing this is one of those alpha bugs there. Or just select them from this version here. You can sort based off of a few different things here. Whoop. Looks like we've just broken something. I'll have to put that into the thread there. Okay, there we go. So let's say we want to add on this Ambershire Instigator. Now, normally you can right-click, there we go, and you'll see a picture of the card that you are working with. You can also right-click on most cards while you're in the game, and you'll be able to see a picture of those there. You right-click again, and it goes away. You double-click on it, and it adds one card to the deck. Now, your deck can only have four. Your deck, when you're creating a deck, has to be, I believe it has to be at least 60, from everything I've seen. The rules are very similar to what Magic the Gathering has used. It has to be at least 60 cards. You can have no more than 4 of any one particular card in a deck. It uses a resource system similar to what Magic does. There's 5 different shards: Blood, Wild, Sapphire, Ruby, and Diamond. When you are playing the cards, well, I'll show you how that all works here in just a few minutes there. But you create the deck, you just add various stuff to the deck. When you're working in a deck, it subtracts it from your total collection, but you can have the same cards in multiple decks. So you never need more of 4 of any one particular card, for the most part, in order to build a deck. So there we have that. Now, once you've gotten this all built, normally if you want to play against another player, you click on Play Now, you wait for an invite or choose it, or we can go back to Home, Play II. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and we're going to use the demo deck Humans. And we're going to show you this works. So first off, you start off with a coin flip. The coin flip, like so, just determines which side is going first, the opponent or you. Now, you are always listed as your keep name. At the moment, they're evaluating this, but at the bottom here, for instance, it shows you your keep name, which is what your chat name basically. Mine is Zerul. And then above this is the name of the champion. Each deck has one champion associated with it, which brings a special charge ability to it. This one, Alright, so when you draw your hand, you draw 7 cards from your deck here. And you have the decision whether you want to keep it or do a mulligan. A mulligan is where you basically shuffle it back into the deck and you draw 1 less. So if I draw again, I will draw 7 or 6, and then 5, then 4, and then so forth. We're going to go and keep this. Okay, so he's going first. So there is a series of phases which I'll show you in just a moment as we click through this to get to my turn. Okay, so it starts off with the ready phase where everything straightens. It either untaps or unbows, or however you want to say the terminology there, depending on which games you're familiar with. It turns from the 90 degrees back to straight up and down. Then you have your prep phase. Then you have a draw phase, and you have your first main phase. Now, during these different phases, you have what's called priority. Ready phase, ready phase, first main phase, combat, attackers, blockers, damage, second main phase, and in turn. You have priority. So whenever something happens, like say that I use an ability on something, the priority can pass to the opponent, where they can choose to use the ability in response, and back and forth and back and forth, and things are resolved in reverse order of the way they went in. So the most recent one gets to resolve, and then so forth and so on. So we have 2 main phases. This is where you can play cards in. You can play 1 general resource a turn. Like this is a diamond shard. This down here tells you what you get. So you get 1 temporary mana. We'll call it mana there. 1 permanent mana per turn. A diamond threshold, and you get a charge. Standard resource. So let's say we play one of these. So what this says is each turn we will be getting, with a permanent resource, we'll be getting 1 resource a turn. We get 1 resource this turn because we played a mana. We now have a charge down here in the lower left, which are used for different charge abilities that you'll see later on there. Cards, the cost in mana is the number in the upper left. Below it will be the threshold requirement. For instance, this requires that we've played 2 sapphire shards, 2 blue shards, before we can play this 1 card. This only requires 1, so as long as you play at least 1 diamond, then you can play this. Let's go ahead and play this guy. Now, if you look on here, I'll show you this is the anatomy of the card. You have the cost in the upper left. Below it, you have the threshold value. To the right of the cost is the name of the card. Again, you can have 4 of any one particular card in your deck. Below it, you have the text of the card, which at some point you will be able to unlock what we call full bleed art, where the text takes the art takes up most of the card. They look really cool. Below it, we have the card type, which is troop. The subtype, which is human and cleric. And we have abilities below this. When this troop or another troop enters play under your control, you gain a health. So while this troop or another one's in play, if another troop comes into play, you get a health because of that troop. It is a passive ability. It requires no activation. This, I believe, is going to be what we call the double back. If you click on this, I believe, we'll be able to see the different stats on the card. As far as I know, it's not active yet. On the lower left, you have the attack value, the strength. For this one is a 1. On the lower right, you have the health or the defense value, which for this one is a 1. You have a little quote here, flavor text. Adamanth is the capital of the human kingdom of Karloth. Adamanth House is the cloister. A massive structure where all human knowledge is meticulously transcribed onto parchment. You have the symbol down here, which tells you whether this is PvP or PvE. And this has the information here about the card number and the set that it comes from. So we're going to play that. Now, because he comes into play, he automatically does his ability, causing him to generate a health. Now, if he had something he could do, then he could then play an ability which would go down here and would resolve before this one would. Since he didn't, it goes over to me. Do I have any abilities to play? No, I think it's pass priority. The ability resolves. I go up to 21 health. On the left here, this is your health in the big circle. You have the symbol of the champion right here, the pitcher. This would be your charge ability. Not all the charge abilities seem to be working, at least not for the demo decks. And then you have how many cards are in your hand over here, like so. This is your void, basically cards and stuff that is removed from the game, right here. This is your deck, how many cards are left in it. This is your discard pile or your graveyard. So we played him. We end our first main turn. We have no attackers. Something cannot attack the turn that it comes into play. It cannot tap or exhaust itself. It cannot exhaust itself the turn it comes into play. It has to be in your control since the beginning of the turn before it can be exhausted for creatures. In Magic is what's termed as summoning sickness. I don't know if they have an official phrase for it in Hex yet. We get a second main phase after the attack phase. We have nothing to do, so hit continue. We go to an end phase. I have nothing to do, so I'll pass priority over to the opponent. When both people pass priority, the phase ends at this point, and we go to the next phase. So he goes to his prep phase. I pass priority. He draws cards. He goes to his first phase, and then he brings this out. So his 2 cost, Human Cleric. When you gain health, this troop gets permanent +1/+1. The Righteous Paladin. So right click and we press priority because I have nothing to do with that. Yep, so here is this ability. This is the... I don't have any ability. A champion ability that they get to use, which says this troop gets Life Drain this turn. Life Drain is a special ability that says when you proceed to damage something, your champion gains that much health. So I have nothing to do with that, so I'll hit pass. And that was actually a pretty stupid move by the computer. They are still working bugs on the computer because he can't attack with them this turn, so that ability is going to be wasted. So he goes to a second main phase, end phase, discard, and it goes down to mine. I believe you still have to discard down to 7 cards at the end of every turn there. So during prep phase, I have no ability, so I'm going to pass. We'll go to the main phase. What do we have here? Troop gets permanent +2/+2 and steadfast. Alright. +1/+1. And we can't play him anytime soon. That requires a blue. So we're going to play a second diamond. I'm going to play a guard dog. When the guard dog blocks the opponent, it gets +2/+2. Plus it goes up to a 3/3. So let's play their guard dog. And because I played a card, this is giving me a 1 health. I'll pass, and I go up to 22 health. Now I can do attacking if I wanted to. Now it would be pretty stupid of me to attack, but when you during the attack phase, if you can select people that have been under your control since the beginning of the turn to attack. So you select this here. So if I did this, I'm saying I'm going to be attacking the opponent with him. And I'm going to do this. This is really stupid, but I'm going to do it for demonstration purposes here. So I click on attack. Now he exhausts. He turns 90 degrees to the side, indicating that he is now attacking the opponent. You can only block if you with unexhausted creatures. So now I have priority to do something. We both pass. It goes to his ability to declare blockers. When he blocks, I would deal 1 damage to his 2 health. He would live. He'll do 2 damage to my 1 health. My character would die. Would go to the graveyard. It looks like the game is locked up. This is happening a time or 2 here during the beta or the alpha here. But that's the gist of the game. When you get down to 0 health, or it's either when you run out of cards or when you try and draw a card when you have no cards, then you lose the game in either way there. So those are the 2 real win conditions. But that's pretty much it. You'd have a way to manage which turn you stop to get priority, so you can tell it to wait and then do something here. Like for instance, this will say when it comes up 10 seconds later, just go through automatically. Over here you have your the timer, which is the amount of time you have in the game, I believe, before you have to concede. So it works kind of like a clock in chess. You hit escape, and you can concede if you wish. Say, yes, I'm going to concede. And that's it. So that right there is pretty much the game. Like I said, it is an alpha. It has been a lot of fun so far. If you have any questions, let me know. And like I said, look for my Deck of the Week series, which I'm going to try and start doing next week. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments there. If you enjoyed this video, a like is always appreciated. And I hope to see you next time. See you at the next station, people. Have a great day.